It's finally here. Yes, the G9 Mark II. But we've also got some goodies with it as well. So join me and find out what they are. Roll titles. Well, hi YouTube, Brian James at Micro Four Thirds guy with you once again, and it's today, it's taking place today. Now, yes, the G9 Mark II launch. Wow, obviously I was correct on the G9 Mark II rather than the G10, and we're right in saying that it was going to be launched today because photorumors.com has put quite a lot out in the last couple of days, and it's really been useful. So I'm going to be quoting off photorumors.com site. Thank you to them because they really impressive what they've got in the way of the details. Now, keep watching because it's not just about the G9 Mark II. There's a couple of extras, really good extras, to come later in the video. So watch out for them because they're not just releasing the G9 Mark II. They've got a couple of things up the sleeve. So keep watching. If you're watching this after the launch, you already know about them, but still keep watching because I've got some details on those as well, which will be really, really pertinent, especially to UK viewers, but the viewers all over the world. I've got the spec sheet here for the G9 Mark II. I've got a couple of pictures, which again are courtesy of photorumors.com, and I think they're official launch photos from Lumix as well. So credit to those people for those photos. They're not mine. But yes, I'm really impressed with it. Let's have a little look at the camera first of all before we go any further with the specs. G9 Mark II. First thing I notice, this screen, the top screen. When I came from Canon to Micro Four Thirds, the one thing I missed was my top screen. So when the G9 came out, I was really impressed to see that, and I thought this has got everything I need. I rarely use it. I really rarely use it because there's so much information in the viewfinder. I don't need to use the top screen, so that's a bit of a waste. Well, this has changed because we now have another mode wheel on the top of there, so we're using some of that real estate for useful switches and changing over and things. So that is now our mode wheel on the top there. If we look on the front, it looks a similar sort of size to the G9. I think it's slightly bigger, which, if that's the case, I'm a little bit upset. I would like it to be slightly smaller, but if it is slightly bigger, it's not a big problem, but it puts it closer to the GH6 in size. Looking at the screen on the back, it says in part of the write-up later on, it's tiltable and articulable. But the thing is, I don't know if it is or not. If it's got the GH6 sort of tilt screen, yeah, it's a bit of a size disadvantage, but I do like the back screen where it tilts up as well as being fully articulable. It covers all photographers' needs, especially for still photographers. Still quite a chunky camera. It's not going to be small, but I think it's really, really good, and I like the layout on the back. It's very familiar. Let's get on to the specifications. So, here's the latest leaked specs, it says, and pictures from Panasonic Lumix G9 Mark II camera. Okay, starting at the top, and probably the most interesting thing for most of you that you've been waiting for, a new 25.2 megapixel sensor. So it's bigger than the GH6's sensor slightly. So a 25.2 megapixel sensor. There's a new processor. I would have expected that because there's an awful lot going to be going on in this camera, which hasn't happened before. Here's the killer sentence. Here's the killer line which people have been waiting for. Image plane, phase detect, autofocus. I'll say that again. Image plane, phase detect, autofocus. I know that's going to be a game changer for a lot of you who are watching. Really, this is what's been waited, and it came out in the S5 Mark II. We've been waiting for it to go into Micro Four Thirds, and our wishes have been addressed. Thank you, Lumix. This has gone on for years, where people have been pleading for a phase detect autofocus from you, and it's finally been done. Thank you for listening to your customers. It really does matter, Lumix. Thank you. Okay, 60 frames per second aps-c continuous shooting. 60 frames per second, fabulous. Here's another one. 8 stops of image stabilization. 8 stops. 7.5 stops of dual IS. So let's put that in perspective. 8 stops. If you're taking something at 1,000th of a second and you wanted to slow that speed down and still hand hold it, if it took 1,000th of a second to get a steady shot previously, that means 1 stop takes it at a 500th. 2 stops take it at 250th of a second. 3 stops would take it down to 125th. 4 stops is 60th of a second. 5 stops would take it a 30th. 6 stops a 15th. 7 stops, an eighth of a second. 8 stops is a quarter of a second. So in theory, if to get something steady away from camera shake you needed a thousandth of a second previously, that means you can do it in 1/8 of a second. That's a huge, huge amount. Okay, C4K and 4K 60p in 422 10-bit. You've also got Vlog on this, and I haven't seen anything about time restrictions, and that's going to be a game changer for a lot of videographers as well. That you're not limited to time. If that isn't written down here that you're not, but I've never seen anything which says that it is limited, and that's usually very prominent. So hopefully 4K unlimited time. Okay, 1.84 3-inch screen on the back, 3-inch screen, 1.84 million dot tilt free angle monitor. Now, I think it does mean tilt and free angle. I think it's got the best of both worlds on that one. So 1.4 million dot. The EVF on this is 3.68 million dot OLED viewfinder, and I think that's an improvement on the G9, but 3.68 million dot is really fantastic. You should be able to get some amazing sort of images in as you're doing your composition with that. Dustproof and splashproof. I would have expected that on a pro level camera. Capable of continuous shooting for 3 seconds without blackout. That's important. In other words, if you're doing something like bird photography or fast aircraft or something like that, or fast cars, instead of getting the screen blanking out as you're doing your shooting at 60 frames a second, because it did say 60 frames a second, yeah, it's 60 frames a second, that means that you should be able to get flicker-free following of your subject for 3 seconds. And that's probably down to the fact that it's storing information in the sort of pro capture sort of mode. It's taking the information first and being able to buffer that for 3 seconds. That's what I'm guessing. Let's see, pre-continuous shooting function. Yeah, so it's got pro capture on. That says it. AFS of autofocus 75 frames a second. Wow. Leica monochrome with L2 technology. Leica brought out a monochrome camera a little while ago, which cost an absolute fortune, about £8,000 UK. But Leica's monochrome images are just stunning. And with having the L2 technology from Leica in there, hopefully we're going to get some fantastic monochrome shots on that. Again, don't forget, I'm going to diversify a little bit. Keep watching, because there's 2 other new releases which are real game changers. And I'll keep watching the video for them. Real-time LUT, C4K and 4K 10-bit, 120p and 100p respectively. 8-direction joystick, same as basically on the back of the G9. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and it says here, I love this, lineup covering from 16mm to 1600mm for a 35mm format equivalent. Yeah, you've got lenses. We know you've got lenses. You don't need to put it at the bottom of the line on that. We know that. Okay, main features on these. Micro Four Thirds live MOS sensor, yeah. Internal 5.7K, 60/50p, 10-bit recording. ProRes 5.7K and all intra 800 megabits a second via USB SSD. I haven't seen anything mentioned about cards. Looking at it, it's certainly got a slot big enough for 2 card slots. And I'm guessing they're going to be SD cards. Anamorphic mode, 5.8K, 30p 10-bit, and burst 75 frames per second on AFS. On AFC, continuous 60 frames a second. 60 frames per second continuous. It's going to be fantastic. I really think this is going to be awesome. This is, I'm going to look down, okay, just had a quick glance down some of the other specs. SD cards, dual SD cards, but you can put it out through the USB-C connection to an SSD card if you want to. You can store straight to SSD card through USB-C connection, which I think that's great. It really does open up a lot of other possibilities on there, so that's really, really good. I'm not going to go down through the rest of the specs. There's all sorts of specs there, but that's the basic ones. Okay, then the killer, the crunch part. How much is this going to cost? Well, obviously it's going to be fully announced, but UK price is the only one I've got at the moment. Panasonic G9 Mark II camera, £1,699. Right, let's get this into perspective. It's considerably less expensive than an OM1, so that's a big move on that one. So it's getting into there in a comparative camera into undercutting the OM1. That's significant in my book. But I did a video a little while ago about pricing, and I got various things on that. I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I personally think, yes, £1,700 is a lot of money. It's a huge amount of money for me. I don't have that sort of money. But for the technology that we get, and for the image quality that we get, and the ability, you know, to take the fantastic photos on a top-of-the-range pro-level camera, I think is absolutely fantastic. I think value for money-wise, I think they are value for money. I'm going to get shot down in flames. I don't care. This is what I think. I actually think the OM1 is great value for money, and I said that in the previous video. But they are not cheap. But there again, pro-level camera, not consumer-level camera. Pro-level camera. All the whistles and bells. That less than £2,000. Lots of money in the bank. However, the thing I don't like, and the thing that I do find quite expensive, is £309. Oh, yeah, yes, £309 for the G9 Mark II battery grip. Really bugs me. It really does bug me, because we can't use the G9 grip, which I spent £300 on, or whatever it was. Well, actually I didn't, because it came as part of the kit for me. But I have to get a new battery grip each time if we want to use that sort of format of shooting, which I do. £309 I think is a lot of money. So that's them. So I did say keep on watching, because there's some really interesting things coming up. Yes, 2 more really interesting things. Before I do that, big thank you to all these people on my Patreon patrons. Fantastic people who help keep the channel going. And if you'd like to become a patron, there's a link below in the comments and in the details. And also in the details you'll find that there's a PayPal link if you want to buy me a one-off assistance for the channel, buy me a cup of coffee. And also if you want to leave a super thanks, you can leave the button below, click on the button below for that. Really appreciate everybody who keeps this channel going. Don't forget to do all this sort of likes and all that, and thumbs up, it all helps. However, the other big things, I shall go back up my list, because I did a video a couple of weeks ago about the worry that everything was being discontinued, what's going on, and I got some fantastic results in the comments. If you'd like to leave a comment, please leave comments below. But I got some fantastic comments back on that, which some of you were spot on the money on that. And it was a thought-provoking video from me, just to try and get people's brains going, and I really got some fantastic responses, and a lot of you were right. First thing, that is a new lens, a Lumix Leica DG Vario Elmerit 35 to 100 mm f2.8 power OIS lens. Yes, you were right. The ones who said that the Mark II of the 35 to 100 was being discontinued to allow us to have a Leica lens, that's what's happening. I'm thinking that these lenses have been released at the same time as the G9 Mark II, because the G9 Mark II having a slightly higher megapixel count with even better quality lenses for that, and I think this is where it's maybe coming into. And also they'll probably go into the new, they'll be designed to be used alongside the new better IBIS inside. So that's what my guess is. So that's coming out, £1,099. Again, I don't think that's too bad. Very comparable to the previous lens, and for the quality of those lenses should be absolutely superb. But the real one that I'm interested in on this, and this has made me smile when I read this, really made me smile for the good reasons. I did a review of the 100 to 400 Leica lens a little while ago, which I think is a link up above. And I loved that lens. I thought it was really, really good. And I was so disappointed when I saw it was discontinued. I thought they can't leave it like that, and they haven't. We have the announcement today as well on this launch. The Panasonic Lumix Leica DG Vario Elmar 100 to 400 f4 to f6.3 Mark II ASPH Power OIS lens. There's a bit of a mouthful for you. £1,499. So again, comparative pricing just about spot on. That's an amazing lens for that price. It really should be knockout. Again, it's not cheap. None of these things are cheap. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that anything is cheap or inexpensive. Or certainly not cheap, inexpensive. But compared to what we had previously, you know, the fact is that I actually think that these do constitute really good value for money as lenses for us to be able to buy. So yeah, let me know what you think on this. I'm really excited about that lens particularly. I'm excited about the G9 Mark II. This has been a good day. I think this, from a personal point of view, I think that this is really, really beneficial for Micro Four Thirds as a format. Yes, I know some people accuse me of being a Lumix fanboy and maybe in the pay of Lumix, whatever. I'm not in the pay of anybody on these things. I shoot Micro Four Thirds because I adore the format, because I think the format just fits every box, ticks every box that I personally need as a photographer. And I do these videos because I'm excited about them. I probably won't be able to afford all these things. I certainly won't be able to afford a G9 Mark II or even the new version of this lens. But without this, our format will die. And I think that these are really important. This is the first real proper launch of a new camera for 18 months. Yes, I know Olympus brought out the OM5 just short of a year ago. But the OM5 to me was an upgrade of the EM5 Mark III. With a new name stuck on the front of it. It's a good camera. It had some new features in. A superb camera, not the camera at all. But to me, it wasn't a new big release. The last big release for me was the OM1, which came out, I think, about April last year. So we've waited almost a year and a half for a new major release in the way of camera bodies. And I think with this coming out, with the G9 Mark II coming out, with the price that it's at, with the 2 new lenses coming out, I personally think this is a superb way that the system is going forward. Yes, I know we've got the GH6 come out, but the GH6, I know somebody's going to say, oh, the GH6 came out after the OM1. Yes, I know it did. I think it did. Anyway, the thing is, it was around about the same sort of time, and to tell you the truth, it's a different sort of camera. It's more video-centric, I would say, than pure still camera. So when I'm talking about these cameras, I'm trying to put apples for apples and not apples to pears, if that makes sense. I know what I mean. But yeah, I personally think it's a really, really good thing. I would like to know what you personally think, so stick the comments below, please. I really do appreciate all the comments. I read every comment that I can see. I don't always reply to the comments, but I read everyone. And to me, the comments aren't aimed at me. The comments are there for everybody to be able to get something out of. And you may agree, you may disagree with what I say in these videos. And this is your opportunity to do that, to put your bit forward. So please leave lots and lots of comments. Tell me what you think about the camera. Tell me what you think about the lenses. Tell me what you think about the whole format system, whatever it is out there. I'm really interested to hear your comments. But I'm going to disappear now. I'm going to watch the launch at 3 o'clock myself. Some people asked me to do a live stream. I'm not doing a live stream. I'm going to let you watch it. And if you've already seen it by the time you see this video, then tell me if you think it was the right thing to happen. Let me know what you think about the G9 Mark II. Can't wait to get my hands on one. And hopefully by the time that you've seen this video, you might have an opportunity to get your hands on one too. Until the next time, Brian James at Micro Four Thirds Guy saying, look after yourself, keep on taking your photos, and keep on having fun with your photos. Bye-bye.